Hey, hey, hey! That's really lame! So last week we did American Truck Simulator, right? Yeah. I know I'm right. Because I did it. This year, oh my god. This week, today, we're doing Euro Truck Simulator. I've got this badass Scania. Oh, we're gonna have to go into some lighted area. Here we go. Check this out. Look at that. Look at that. We can make the push axle go up and down. What? It's so crazy. Can't, no way. And the guy, man. Some of the details in these games, I tell you, is absolutely fantastic. So let's go see. I have not preloaded a load. I am not under a load right now, as they say in the trucker world. The latest expansion pack to this game has this super ultra heavy loads, and unfortunately in TruckersMP we are not allowed to use those because they require escort vehicles. And well, in order to have escort vehicles, you need to make sure that other traffic isn't going to interfere with that, so they disabled it completely. And I understand, it makes perfect sense. But I initially started American Truck Simulator, and I played that game 100% completely honest because, well, I didn't know any better. Well, I guess you could put it that way. But then I'm like, well, I got Euro Truck Simulator 2, and I want to check that out. That seems like a really fun game, you know, and well, not fun. By fun, I mean extremely boring, because it's just driving. But I wanted to check out some of the equipment that they use in Europe. I mean, these are supposed to be, you know, it's a simulator game. It's supposed to simulate what the vehicles actually look like and kind of how they handle. I mean, it's a game after all. You can only get so good. And so I started playing Euro Truck Sim, and I'm just going to refer to it as ETS from now on. And I was playing it with TruckersMP online. And I distinctly remember this one time. I was driving along, doing my task, and all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, this truck drops down on top of me, or in front of me, and I ram into him, and I completely destroyed 100% my load and my truck, and I only had like maybe 20,000 euros on top of that, or whatever currency they use. I think it's euros. So I only had like 20,000 euros, and I lost all of it, and then some, and so I ended up going into the hole. I had to spend like 5 hours trying to do load after load after load to try and make that money back to get back into the positive, and I didn't. So I kind of gave up, and I found a mod that I installed and uninstalled right after use, but I now have way more money than I'll never ever use. And you can call that cheating, because it is. But, you know, I legitimately played American Truck Simulator and earned every single dollar that I have in that game. But I just, in ETS, I just wanted to experience the game. And that's what I'm doing. So, let us check this truck out. I mean, look at all those lights. The thing with the major difference between ETS and ATS is that in ETS you have so many customizable options. Like each one of these headlights is an option Well, this is actually standard in the game. Or no, everything's standard. I'm sorry. This is standard on the truck. And then, like, this bull bar, or brush guard, whatever you want to call it, has little pins everywhere that you can, like, put all these lights on. You can put strobe lights on. You can see right here, I got all these strobes. And there's so much detail in this game, and it's kind of cool, actually. And so I'm just experiencing the game. Let us go find a load. Alright, what do we got here? Let's see, we're gonna use our own equipment. We can haul some cars. Nice long trip through France. We can do big bags of seed to the other side of Italy. Or coconut milk. And again, because, like, you know, I did kind of cheat and made myself boatloads of cash with a simple couple clicks of the mouse. It doesn't matter what I drive. I don't care if I'm making 27 euros a kilometer or 44 euros a kilometer. It doesn't matter to me. I think this one's the shortest one. We'll do that. One thing I did notice in ETS is that there's traffic signs that I really don't understand. Because, well, I don't drive in Europe, and I don't know what they all mean. I mean, you can guess what most of them mean. Most of the signs are derived from U.S. signs, or U.S. signs are derived from European signs. I don't know which is which, but they're oops, way off on that. You can kind of guess mostly what they mean, but I'm confused sometimes by what they actually mean. Did I get it? I think I'm on. Yep, there we go. Oops. Why? There we go. Alright. Another cool thing about this. Let's see. I gotta get out of here first. I did originally design this tractor for heavy haul stuff because I love heavy haul. Even though I personally have never done it in real life, it's still very interesting to me. The standard, I believe, in Europe is a 2-axle tractor. So you would only have the steer axle and then one drive axle. And then on the trailer you have 3 axles. And I believe that's how they distribute their load. In US, they move this 3rd axle and turn it into a 2nd drive axle. And it just depends on how they want to distribute the weight. I haven't looked into European regulations, but in the US, you are allowed 34,000 pounds on the trailer axles. So that, you know, how much weight is pushing down on those 2 axles on the trailer. 34,000 pounds on the drive axle set, and 12,000 pounds on the steer axle. Judging by standard distribution of weight, I'm assuming, well, I'm not going to even guess because I don't know what, in the US, standard trucks gross is 80,000 pounds. Doesn't matter what's on the truck, how the truck is set up, how long the truck is, how short the truck is. You are allowed standard 80,000 pounds, and that's it. If you go over that weight, you need a special permit. I forgot what point I was driving here, but Obviously, in Europe, it's different. Their weight distributions are different. But in the game, I thought it was cool because one of the trailer axles is actually a drop axle, and you can lift it if you want. And again, I don't know what the regulations are. In the game, you can drive with all your lift axles up for all they care, and you'll still go down the road just the same. But in reality, I think that's supposed to be down for its weight distribution when you're on the highway, but when you're making turns, you can lift it up. And so we're going to play like that. Let's see here. All right. Let's roll out. Let's get this going. We've got... Oops. Oh, just missed it. All right. It's currently game time is Saturday, 3 a.m. And this load has to be delivered Saturday between 7 a.m. and 1:30 in the afternoon. Oh, and that's another side topic, back to the specifics of European trucking, is that I noticed their roads are a lot smaller, which is why you see what they call cab-over trucks, the European style truck, because cab-overs can do a lot tighter turning radius than a conventional cab, which is what U.S. trucks are called. Those are called conventional cabs. And, oh yeah, we're driving, so we put that trailer axle back down. Okay. I noticed that, yeah, the cab overs turn a lot better. And actually, that was a speed bump. I hit that so many times, I can't it's funny. Lost my train of thought. Oh, I think conventional cabs... No, I can't see this light. Conventional cabs are safer to drive by a mile, by like a kilometer, by like forever and a half, because if you get into a front-end collision, you're less likely to impact the windscreen, and therefore you're less likely to damage or to injure the driver inside the truck. But with cab overs, you can see there's not a whole lot of crunch space. However, in modern day trucking, I'm sure that the front of the truck is structurally sound enough that it's not going to take a lot of damage, or it's not going to have a lot of give to the point where it might injure the driver. However, it's still technically not a safe setup, and that's why the US is predominantly conventional cabs, because it's not safe, and also because we have larger road systems. We don't need to make such tight turns all the time. So that is the difference between, or the reasoning why European trucks are the way they are and American trucks are the way that they are. Oh, this is, I forgot what I said, it's Scania. This is a Scania, and it's got a V8 motor, like diesel V8. And I tell you what, it sounds badass. Listen to that baby purr. Engine brakes don't brace sound very good in these games, to be honest. Just listening to the truck accelerate. like brakes being brakes being set, the air being released so that the pads, the shoes engage. But I don't know why it's making a air purge sound every time I shift. That's unrealistic. I can't remember if that did that in ATS as well or not. Huh. Alright, well, anyway, we're continuing on, talking about random stuff. Notice how the lighting is actually quite dark. These are low beams. And they are... That's the other thing that I don't like in the game, is that, like, when you go from braking straight on the throttle, it takes a while for it to engage. And I guess in reality it's kind of the same. But if you're a smart truck driver, you don't just hit the brakes, throw it into neutral, slow down, and then decide which gear you're going to go into. You downshift. You step down gear to gear to gear to gear until you're to the point where you're going to take off again. You hit the throttle and it takes off almost immediately. I mean, with turbo lag, of course, but you know. But in this game, it's brake, 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 hammer down, wait. Okay, now we're gonna go. And I just went on a tangent from what I was talking about before we hit that toll booth, is that the lighting, your low beams don't project very far. So then we hit the high beams, and whoa, light everywhere. Look at that. That's fantastic. It's like daytime. Nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime. If you can get that reference, you and I can be friends. Alright, how much further we got? 273 kilometers to go. Just trucking through some tunnels. Suddenly got really quiet because I ran out of stuff to talk about. Well, I didn't run out of stuff, I just don't feel like talking for a moment. Let's go that over. Between the lines, bub. Between the lines. What, 120 kilometers an hour? What? Jeez, it's only like 70 miles an hour. Sweet. Leg. Alright, now we're going. That, and it's not realistic. It's supposed to be a simulator. Yes, it's supposed to be a simulator, so we should simulate driving. Oh look, there's my cooler. And look, there's me not in the lane. Got my duffel bag over in the passenger seat. Closed for the week, even though as a truck driver you probably don't shower very much anyway, so it's really just a wasted bag of clothes. We're still pretty full on fuel, so we can keep going. I remember when I first started playing this game, I was all about the putting stuff inside the truck, you know, all the decorations. And I remember I had some dice hanging from the windshield, roughly in the center of the screen, right about there. They're hanging off in the middle of the windshield. And every time I would go around a corner too fast, the truck would tip over. It was some bug in this enhancement pack, and it would just like literally a pair of fuzzy dice would completely off balance the entire truck. So I mean, if you notice in my mirrors, the artificial mirrors, like if I turn right, if I turn the wheel sharp right, you'll notice that the trailer leans to the right. Reality, that will never ever happen. If you go sharp right, that trailer is gonna go lean left as hard as it can. But I turned on stability to ultra high because of those fuzzy dice. Like, it was literally ruining the game for me, because every time that I took a turn too fast, the truck would tip over and I'd completely destroy the load that I was working on. I could probably turn it down now, but you know, when I'm going 120, 130 kilometers an hour, which is like 75, 80 miles an hour, the truck leans pretty good. And that was one thing that I didn't understand with European regulations, is that their trucks are governed 90 kilometers an hour max, which is, I think that's 55 miles an hour. Like, you were driving all day at 55 miles an hour. You're spending, I did look up European regulations on hours of operation, hours of service. I think they are allowed a maximum, I'm going to probably horribly say this wrong. I should look up the numbers before I say anything, but who cares? They're allowed to drive a maximum of 10 hours a day. I believe the US, it's 11 hours of driving. The maximum work day, I believe, is 12 hours, whereas American is 14 hours. And then I believe you have to have 10 hours off, which is the same in the US. You are only allowed to work a maximum, I think, of 50 hours in a week, whereas in the US you can work a maximum of 60 or 70, depending on how many days your dispatch operates. Which I thought was interesting, though. Like, I can't imagine being a European truck driver, because your work week is limited. So, like in the US, we pay our truck drivers, our over-the-road truck drivers are paid by the mile. So with European regulations, you can only go so far. And I suppose, well, you can say the same thing about American regulations. You can only drive so far. But with those, you know, that's like 10 hours, you know, less in a day. That's like one less work day that you are not allowed to drive anymore. And I think the way that American truck drivers are paid right now, if they were to adopt the same regulations that Europe has and not change the pay, there'd be a huge uprising. So I am imagining that European regulations limiting truck drivers so much, they have to have... Oh, just missed it. European truck drivers have to get paid pretty well in order to, you know, make a regular wage. Or a livable wage, I guess I should say. So another difference between ATS and ETS is that ETS is very popular, actually. Like, thousands of people will be on a server for TruckersMP. Thousands of people will be playing at a time during regular European hours. Like right now, I think there's only 500, 600, 700 people online. So I haven't actually seen a single person yet. Which is actually more common on ATS, where you only have a couple hundred online. Oh, there's somebody. And he's right in the area that we're going. Oh, and there's another somebody. Oh my god, there's more people! What? Somewhere else. We can turn. Back up. Straight, drop axle back down. Stop. Jeez, all that time talking? We're already at our destination? What? And another thing that I noticed, like, the speed limits in ETS are, like, you can see in the lower right corner, it says that the speed limit here is 80 kilometers an hour. That's 50 miles an hour in town? Really? That can't be real. Oops, curb check. Now it's 70. That's like 40 miles an hour. I think. I don't know. I'm not actually doing any sort of conversion, I'm just guessing. Is that the driveway? No. I think that was the driveway, yeah. Couldn't see the... Alright, you get a view of the turn radius of European trucks. You use a conventional truck from the US, you would never make this turn. You'd have to back up and go forward, and back up and go forward. Okay. Oh, how do we get in there? There's a gate. Is the gate open? Yeah. screw this up if I don't cheat. Sounds like somebody else missed the entrance like I did. How do you get into this place? Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. They have curbs. Oops, there we go. Little bars so that you can't screw this up. Well, you can screw it up, but see where those little bars there at the end. So if you go too far to one side, yeah, that is not good enough. That's good enough. All right. Yep. All right. New upgrades available. Yay! Now, we'll do one more load. And we see heavy haul. The heavy haul trailers in ETS are actually a lot cooler, in my opinion. I'll show you why. Because they're more like a military trailer in the US. So let's see, we can haul a locomotive all the way to the South Italy. Or we can do a short asphalt miller. We'll do a short run asphalt miller. I mean, obviously you see the pay is a lot less. But again, I don't care about the pay. It just says, are you sure that you want to drive this? Because we need a heavy haul truck. And, well, I've got a heavy haul truck, so. Alright. And it's beautiful. It's right there behind us. Oh, I totally overdid that. Totally missed the kingpin. Centered. Gate operator's gonna be getting pissed at me. He keeps thinking I'm leaving when I'm not. There we go. Alright. So now, why are heavy haul trailers cool? Because, oops. Put a drop axle up by accident. I don't think this one has a drop axle. Alright, putting down on the tractor. Alright. When you turn, why? Oh, that is ridiculously stupid. When I turn my wheel, the drop axle should not turn because the drop axle turns on its own when the truck is actually turning, not when it's sitting still. There's I don't know exactly how it works, but there's like little hydraulic rams that keep the tires straight and keep them from splitting out or whatever. And as the truck turns, the wheels are turned by friction, not by actual power steering. But in any case, what I wanted to show you in the European heavy haul trailers is as you make this turn, each tire on the trailer itself turns as well, and that is really friggin' cool. And you only see that in U.S. military trailers when they're hauling big howitzers and tanks and whatnot. But for their heavy haul, these are their standard heavy haul trailers. And I suppose if you're gonna have a specialty trailer, you want it to be the best that it can be. I would anyway. Alright. Probably gonna clip that other trailer. Yep, I'm stuck on it. There we go. Alright. But you don't see that in the U.S. very much for their heavy haul trailers. You still see the standard. Turn on my strobes. Regular standard trailers being used for their heavy hauls. You just add more dollies as opposed to steerable axles. And steerable axles, man, that is real classy right there. Because look how sharp you can make this turn. And if you looked at my mirrors, you would see the trailer didn't even stray from the lane. And I think that is just top-notch design. Was this a roundabout and I went the wrong way? Yes, I did. Oops. See, I'm used to driving conventional cabs and going out too far. See, now I went in too tight. What else to talk about? Nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime. Oh, that cracks me up. Oh, some of the European signs, like, maybe I'll see some examples going down the road. Anybody who knows better can... Like, what's that diamond mean? I don't know what that means. In the US, you have a diamond, it usually has words written on it that tells you what the hell it means. It's usually a warning saying, hey, watch out for this or that, or, you know, like deer crossing, or I know that that upside down triangle, that's a yield. There's a sign above that. I'm assuming, I guess it's yield to this street. Maybe? I don't know. Or yield, I don't know. I'm not, whatever. Somebody's recruiting for their trucking company. Spanish trucking company. I think that's Spanish. I don't know. Road signs, looking for road signs that confuse me. Here, this one. The two little cars next to each other. What the heck does that mean? I don't understand. Does that mean that there's two-way traffic ahead? Is that what that means? So green, if the green car's on the right, that means where you're supposed to be, and the red car's on the left means don't go. I guess I figured it out. I don't know. But there's a divider here, so why would you have a sign telling me to keep right when I can't go left? And then there were some street configurations that I noticed in Germany. Like, you'll be going on a 2-lane road like I am right now. All of a sudden, the right lane becomes an exit only, and there was no pre-warning saying, hey, by the way, you need to move left. It was, nope, exit. Like, holy cow. I mean, maybe there were signs that said move left in, like, in German that I missed, or I don't know. And it wasn't just Germany. There was other countries too, but that was just more predominantly in my mind. Like, in this case, like if it was right here, boom, I'd have to exit, or I'd have to, you know, switch lanes really quickly. I didn't understand that. Let's see. There's a speed limit of 100 kilometers an hour. That's like 60, 65. Oh, this corner is getting really fast. 2, I don't know. I don't recall. I'm just guessing again. No, I did calculate. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, I want to go this way. I calculated. I wanted to convert 70 miles an hour to kilometers an hour. And it was like 119, 120, something like that. So, I don't know, maybe if there's any European truckers that somehow stumble upon this, like, what is it like driving at 55 miles an hour, 90 kilometers an hour, all day long? I mean, is it really as boring as it sounds? Because, like, here in the U.S., our base speed is 65 miles an hour, which is 105 kilometers an hour, thereabouts. And there's been a trend lately where speed limits are being raised to 70, which is 120, 119, 115? I don't know. I have to do the calculation again. Here, I know how to do it. Hey Siri, convert 70 miles an hour to kilometers an hour.
70 miles per hour is 112.65 kilometers per hour.
Okay, so I was way off. 113 kilometers an hour is 70 miles an hour. So convert 90 kilometers an hour to miles per hour.
It's 55.92 miles per hour.
56 miles an hour is the European truck speed limit. It's slow compared to US. And I don't think I could do that. Like, that is boring. That's even more boring. Like, and maybe in Europe all truck drivers are paid by the hour, in which case, you know what? Govern me to 45 for all I care. What, 55 miles an hour? Oh, that is just boring. I want to go. Gotta go. Hurry up and wait. Yeah, that's the mantra here. Hurry up and wait. Alright. Turning left up ahead here. Oh wait, this is a two-way road. Roundabout. As soon as the truck gets back into gear. Just look how tight, like I'm turning really loosely. And this huge ass trailer with all of its turning axles, I could turn tighter and still not go over the center median. That is, I love specialty trailers like this. I remember back in high school, the local National Guard brought a howitzer into our high school, and he was driving through our parking lot, and it was nothing. Like, he was going around cars, rows and rows of cars, with a big ass howitzer on the back of his trailer. He didn't touch a single one, didn't have to back up at all, because all his axles individually turned, and he could turn that trailer however he wanted. And it was just fantastic. And I don't know why heavy hauls in the US don't utilize trailers like that, because why wouldn't you want the maneuverability? You can stick that thing anywhere you want it. One thing I do notice, slow down. I don't think I'm going to clear that. Oh, I did. See? Cabos. They turn so tight. One thing I do notice when in reverse, these trailers do not seem very realistic. I mean, you can see how the rear of that trailer just kind of looks like it's skidding. I don't think that's very realistic. Going forward it looks alright, but going in reverse it just... I'm stuck on the mound of dirt. Can't go forward anymore. That is not good enough. It must be straight. The next guy who drives into it can get onto it. That is good enough. Alright. So we're done. And that's that. Excellent work. Base pay plus proficiency bonus plus high value cargo bonus plus bonus for parking. Yep. So that's American Truck Simulator. And it's a very boring game, but it's actually fun. And I wore my work shirt just special so that you could see. No, not. Oh, I actually didn't wear it for you. I just didn't feel like changing. So, thanks for watching along, and thanks for being part of my world and having fun with me. Yes, fun. It's fun. Yes. See you next time. As I click the button to stop streaming.